Wajackoyah is still here with us. Justina Wangoi, my Roots Party presidential team are with us here. One of the only 4 who have been cleared by IBC to run for the state biggest top job. Let's see some of your feedback and the questions you're asking here on JK Live. Let's bring that up and pose some of them. Joseph Mayani says, kindly ask them if they have other aspirants like governors, senators, MP and MCA vying with Roots Party. Quick reaction to that.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes.
We have not seen any of them being...
No, we don't. What happened actually is our scrutiny method was so rigorous. A lot of them were disqualified at the primary level, just like I was disqualified when I was running for Member of Parliament for Tottenham after the death of Bangi Grant in UK. I was disqualified at the primary level just because I was not married, but I had children. They wanted to see a real certificate of marriage. We have applied the same method in Roots, and that's why we didn't care. People came in or have money, and we looked at them. There's a questionnaire for them to fill in, which was actually in tandem with Chapter 6. So if you didn't answer us, just go. So we are, I think, the only party which has really scrutinized our candidates, and we have very few.
And we didn't eat their money for free. We know many political parties make you pay party fees and they don't give you the ticket. So us, we are very transparent. We told them, come for the interview. You will pay us your money once you're successful. Yeah. So that sets us apart.
But we haven't seen anyone being cleared by IBC.
Really? You haven't?
We have, all of our candidates have been cleared. Right now we have Naran, Asian, running in
Mugumoine, yes.
Then we have Arjun, another Asian, running in Parklands. We have another one. We have several, but not those who came with money or party hopping, running from this party to this party, that. We told them, excuse me, goodbye. And we are good with that because we don't have sleepless nights. We are sleeping well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring out some of your more feedback coming through on JK Live. Let's squeeze in as many of them as we can here. We have Lloyd Onyango. Says, ask Professor Wajackoyah about what he knows about Robert Ruto's murder and who was after him when he sought asylum in the UK. Why does he feel safer in Kenya now that when he left? Let's keep that and go to the next one because that will be mostly about speculation. Let's take a look at the next conversation that comes in. Erastus Mwanzia says, how is my president going to tackle the issue of high cost of living of consumer goods? You already answered that earlier on. Let's see another one that comes through here and bring in at JK Live. That's a question that you're posing. Patrick Chahasi says, when Professor Wajackoyah says he will suspend the constitution for 6 months, what will happen to the judiciary system? Will they be working for the said 6 months?
Definitely we have rules. We already have the system. We have the process. The process will continue. And what we are talking about is we are asking Kenyans to really look into the constitution as we continue the process. So whatever is wrong, they remove it and we move on.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's not just about the judiciary. There's also the National Police Service that comes with that.
Yes.
How do you intend to deal with that entire system?
Yes, as a former police officer, and first of all, I have to thank men and women in uniform, especially the police and the Kenya Army, the armed forces. Of course, their salaries will go up. When it comes to the police, it has become a very unfortunate situation. Kenya police is the only police in the entire world that whose interests are not taken seriously by anybody. Number one, I having been one, and I'm speaking on behalf of every policeman in this country, you'll find out that a graduate police constable today who has taken a loan from HELP and a graduate police inspector today who has also taken a loan from HELP, they earn 2 different salaries. A graduate police constable earns a constable's salary, and a graduate police inspector earns an inspector's salary. And both of them have a duty and obligation to repay the loan. You tell me the answers on that one. Secondly, if you look at the welfare of the police officers in this country, it is pathetic. How do you expect a police officer in Nairobi to live in a house of 15,000 a month? Recently, a police sergeant was killed in a very muty servant quarter in Nairobi South Sea, the guy who was actually manning Ruto's or what have you. People don't care about the police. You'll find out a whole governor, a prospective governor in Kakamega, Governor Malala, gubernatorial candidate Malala, telling the police that their work is only to do what? To hold guns and anyone can shoot. You expect that man to be my governor? I am going to Kakamega to campaign because that's where I come from. Police interest in this country should be taken very seriously, and anyone who abuses the police in this country, that person will be taken to court, just like it is in the UK. In the UK and US, where I've also worked for many, many years as a lawyer, if you point a finger at the police officer who is in the process of arresting a victim, you'll be, and probably the firearm is discharged and the person is killed, you are the one to be indicted for murder. So when it comes to the police, you look at the way they are, look at the Chinese uniforms that they have been given. I am banning them on the 9th of August once I become the president, because the police officers were not consulted. The police officers were not consulted as per the Constitution as to whether they wanted those uniforms or not. They look like why? The same uniforms, if you go to Shanghai in China or any other city in China, you'll find the Chinese putting on the same uniform. So is Lusaka. Does it mean that somebody in President Uhuru Kenyatta's government went in bed with the Chinese, formed up a bilateral agreement to come and do what they have done to the police without asking them?
Okay.
I'm speaking for the police.
Okay.
The police will be remunerated well, just like journalists, teachers, and what have you. And the members of the Fourth Estate, who are also very minimally paid in this country. Yet they do a very big task being members of the Fourth Estate. Okay. They are not given equipment. You'll find a journalist with cameras in a matatu going to cover somewhere.
Okay.
On his own expense. They will also be paid, and they will become stakeholders in whatever organizations that they want.
All right. Justina, there's a question here about how do you intend to regulate this usage of marijuana? Because there's a perception that this will be a free-for-all, where everybody will just be smoking on the streets.
Trevor, let me speak quickly about the police. When the police are well remunerated, the fight of corruption, the fight on corruption will be real. A police will not be bribed with very little money, so they're going to aid us in fighting corruption. But about controlling marijuana, Kenyans, we need to open up our minds. Marijuana has two components. CBD, which gives us industrial hemp or fiber, and THC, which gives you the psychoactive ingredient. Mm-hmm. What we are focusing on as it is the CBD component, the fiber. But as it is, those who are smoking right now are smoking THC, which is readily available, Trevor. People, if you want to smoke, if you're a smoker, you can get it in 2 minutes, you get it. So when we plant the CBD of it, the CBD component, how are we going to distinguish it? CBD has 0.3% of THC. So even if you chew it, it's only going to give you a detox in your body. But THC is supposed to have more than 0.3% to 30%. That one, actually, we're going to tell Kenyans, if you think you're going to be smart, we have outsmarted you, because we're going to bring back the agricultural officers who used to inspect tea and coffee. They will be coming in your farms to ensure that you're planting what Ruto's government has indicated or has stipulated. So when we are controlling, of course, the seed is the CBD. Agricultural officers are going to be there. KEFIS is going to give us the seed that we want as Ruto's government. So already it's controlled. And I'm underpinning, even if you take a leaf today of CBD, the one we are growing, it can only detox you. It does not have any highness effect. So planting the right seed clearly shows you how we are going to distinguish. And we are going to, by the way, arrest those people who are thinking they're going to be smart. If the agricultural officer finds you with the THC, we're going to deal with you. Okay. Because we do not want to lead a stoned country, a sick country. We only want Kenyans to have the real pesa mfukoni. Okay. We are explaining to Kenyans where we are going to get our money. All
right. Let me bring some of the more feedback. Let's squeeze in as many of them as we can as we wind up on this conversation. You don't leave a name, but he says, please ask Professor Wajackoyah and Justina Wangoi if they use cannabis. If they do, ask them how are they going to govern the country if they use it. I think that's what you've just explained, because you don't want to talk to you.
No, but we didn't answer whether we are using. We've never, personally, I've never used, and Prof, we don't use it. We are not focusing on the smoking, guys. We're focusing on the hemp, industrial hemp, and the fiber.
Yeah.
Yes.
Prof, there's a very big misconception between what you're talking about and what the people seem to understand. Now, there's a direct question there. Have you smoked weed?
Never smoked, but I'll smoke it on the day I will be sworn in to exorcise the demons from State House, where Kenyatta was buried, Parliament and KICC. Those colonial demons that remained, they will be. I'll spurf around there to remove them so that we can have a corrupt-free country.
Let me answer one of our competitors.
Yes.
In the morning, they said those who are propelling the marijuana agenda look like they smoke. Clearly, we are doing better than you. You're telling us you're going to give us 6,000. From where? You're going to increase taxes? And so you people know that even if we don't look the part, clearly our agenda is out there. We are telling Kenyans we won't increase taxes, we won't borrow debt. So Kenyans really, it's for you to decide who cares about
and that's Edwin Sifuna, a whole secretary general of a party, looking at me and saying, I look like a... Come on, Sifuna, you don't know who I am. You say it about me, I don't like pointing fingers, but shame on you.
All right, you said, let's get the next question and see what you're saying on Twitter here. Rose Flo says, ask Professor George Wajackoyah and Justina Wangoi how they met.
Okay, so there's this time my husband Alex sent me a photo of Prof. He was wearing Gideon boots and a T-shirt on Facebook. That was the very first time we hadn't met. But Roots circulated an advert. They were looking for a running mate. Roots is very, very transparent. And I sent in my CV. When I sent it, and by the way, that CV was, I had done it in 2018. I had applied for a PS position after elections. So that's the same CV that I gave Prof. I gave Roots Party. We were called for an interview, and they insisted, if I'm married, I come with my spouse. The reason behind it was, one, they'll have 2 votes from my family, my husband's and mine. So after the interview, they told us, go and wait. And they gave us the feedback that I was successful. Yeah, and there was a panel of judges. The panel of selection was headed by a retired judge. So I was told that I was successful. And let me take this opportunity to thank Prof. and Roots Party. In 1997, I was 10 years old. And my member of parliament, I grew up in Kibera, so you know who the member of parliament was then, and was running for president. So 25 years later, being on the same ballot paper with my former member of parliament of Langata in 1997 is a humbling experience. And that speaks into Roots' commitment of bringing youth onto the decision-making table and converting them into frontline actors in the development agenda.
All right. And Prof, tell us a little bit about yourself so that Kenyans understand who you are. But at least Justina has mentioned that she's married, and in 1997 she was only 10. Who is Prof. Wajackoyah?
I'm an ugly-looking guy, very frightening. That's number one, with a beard, a former chokora, street boy, policeman, security guard, a grave digger, and somebody who went to school by virtue of God just making me to go to school.
No family history, no.
I have children.
Married.
I have children. I have a wife. She's an American. She lives in the US. Our children live in the UK. They are grown up, and sooner or later they will have the opportunity of coming back home now that they have naturalized as Kenyan citizens.
What is the significance of what you wear on your head?
This one is a durag, and trust me, this in itself is a protest against corruption. When African Americans were being taken as slaves to the United States, a lot of them died on the ship. And every time one died, the live ones were told to throw the dead one in the sea. But they tore the T-shirt, they tore the shirt or the clothes this person was wearing, and they always tied on their head to know how many members have died. So if you tied 10, that meant 10 died. But the white people the slave masters did not know. So they used, that was a continuity even when they settled in the US, whereby any protest they wanted to make, they used a durag. And that's why you see basketballers in the US using a durag, because the first time they constituted a game in 1817, the whites refused to play with them. So they protested by wearing a durag. This is a mean of protest against evil. And therefore, I'm protesting against corruption in this country. And this is the image I have.
You've forgotten to say, Prof believes that vijana ni viongozi wa sasa hivi, not what others tell us, that vijana ni viongozi wa kesho. Yeah.
All right, let's bring us some of your more feedback as we try to wind up on this. Kiplagat Kipro says, kindly ask Wajackoyah, which cabinet post will he abolish? Secondly, which will be his preferred dress code as president? Will he do away with the durag?
No, not at all. This is me, and there are so many young people who are now drawing this. We also have people drawing me on matatus and graffitis. This is my dress code. I'll wear it anytime.
How will your ministries be structured?
The ministries will be structured once we cross the bridge. I'll ask my deputy and those who will be with us to sit down. It will not be a one-man decision.
Okay. So this is how you will look even during a presidential
Definitely,
function.
even...
You will not be wearing suits?
I can wear a suit when I go to court.
Okay.
It doesn't really... I wear suits when it's... But this is my... I'm very comfortable in this. Very comfortable. No suits or whatever. Of course I have suits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Many people refer to you as professor. Of what?
Well, people ask me, some of them say it's fake professor, some of them, oh, no PhD, what have you. But let me take this opportunity and clarify. Out of all the degrees I have, the first PhD I had was conferred to me by Arnold Schwarzenegger through the recommendation of American Heritage University, which was actually a honorary PhD for outstanding academic work that he done in UK and the US. Right now I'm in the final touches of my PhD, which I'm doing a PhD in criminal justice and public policy. And I'm zeroing in on immigration. I'm looking at discrimination on Section 289G of the Immigration Act 1996 in the UK, in the US, whereby Congress has supplied plenary powers to allow state police and local police to stop any person they desire to be an alien. And the consequences of that stoppage is, if the alien is found to have committed a crime, whether with permanent residence or with no permanent residence, that person will not be given bail. So I've zeroed in Maricopa County, and I'm looking at the effect of that act, or whether it discriminates and whether it is positive discrimination or negative. So I've written my work. Last year, I was actually awarded a Master of Philosophy because of my outstanding work.
Okay. So it is not done yet?
It's not yet done yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have a series of degrees and a series of writings. And those who may want to doubt, they can do so by actually making inquiries. Nation newspaper was the first one to doubt me. Nation TV, when I came in, and they wrote those universities and they came to. So I'm not coming here to plagiarize that I'm what I am not.
Okay.
But mind you, in the US, once you become a teacher, you can either be an adjunct professor or a professor. It depends on the university to validate you.
Maureen, let's say a bit more about you, Justina. How would you describe yourself so that Kenyans understand who you are, where you're coming from? You just mentioned that you're married, but who is Justina?
Justina believes in being different. I see myself, in life, when you wait for people to clap for you or appreciate you, they'll never do it. So for me, I see life differently, and I motivate myself to do things different. My degree was in BCom. But in 2015, when I was so unemployed, I tried to do a TV show. Remember, I was not even a communications major. But I got my friends and I wrote a TV show, a concept, hoping would sell it. It never worked. Actually, sitting on this bench today, I would tell Jeff that that time was really writing to him to have me on the bench just to steal this concept of the bench and use it in my show. So I believe in chance. I believe in seeing yourself and having the aspirations, and also there's something called, how do you put it? Being positive energy. If you really, really believe in something, you tell God what you want and leave it to him. So even this race to State House, as Prof says, that ours we are doing everything step by step. We did not run there to put up 600 billboards before even ABC had cleared us. We are taking things slowly. So in life, take things step by step. Also being in the business I do is generally male-dominated. So I challenge myself into going into new things, doing things that are new. And it's good. It's always a learning experience for me.
All right. Let's bring up some of your feedback as well as we wind up on this conversation, and then I'll give you a chance for closing remarks. Thomas Mosoti says, what's Wajackoyah's plan with the education system? Will CBC stay?
Well, let me say this one. I've looked at those CBC things and I'm like, wow. But my education system is pegged on a parent, a child, a teacher, a mentor, and the government. Let there be stakeholding between the two. In the US, education is not compulsory. it is the parent who decides the format in which his child should go to school. We should give freedom to the parents to find out exactly what kind of education they want their children to go to achieve, rather than coming into the top-down mechanism, not bottom-up. I don't believe in bottom-up. The top-down mechanism whereby somebody somewhere, and I repeat that synopsis of a suit man, going to sit down to make policies that injure a person who stays in Turkana, who must be told that you have to use internet, you have to do this to be civilized, instead of being told, let us commingle your culture and what you want and what your parents want that can benefit society from where you are to where we are.
Okay.
So I believe that parents have a stakehold in the children, and they should be the ones to be consulted first and foremost, rather than somebody going to America and Germany and writing. And that's why our education system is the most foolish system in the world. Not because Kenyans are stupid, but because of the policies we had. Yeah. Somebody goes to America and comes back, Ministry of Basic Education, Higher Education, we are going to do this, we do the American way. We have just removed Kenya from where it was during Jomo Kenyatta's time, the first president, into very dusty situation.
Yeah.
An A-level from Uganda joins university in London, in UK directly because of their system.
Okay.
So is Tanzania. But in Kenya, our education has become suspect. If you go to the US and you say, I'm a graduate from Nairobi University, they're like, without knowing that this guy has worked so hard to reach where he is.
Okay.
But because of the systems of education, where parents are not consulted, where even students are not consulted, especially on research-based kind of mechanism, whereby they can find out from the past, the present, using qualitative or quantitative or both quantitative and qualitative research analysis pegged on the inception to find out the result.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody just comes.
So 844 CBC, none of them work?
Well, I don't know, because maybe my friend can chip in.
Let me say this. It's good to love ourselves as a people.
Yeah.
And we should love that which is ours before we can make changes. I read in the papers that parents are now taking their children to IGC, the American system. But the difference between the American system and the Kenyan system is something called internationalization. One day, CBC will be internationalized. And I love the way it's practical. Many parents, during COVID, there was this meme that they were saying that fathers go to Kamaki's every evening. So when they come back home during COVID was lockdown, and you hear a father say, hey, Jerry, nilikuacha class 2, because parents were no, Jerry's in Form 3. Parents were never involved. So by forcing parents to come and be part of CBC and being part of the learning journey of the children is something that has changed the family dynamics. So let's not hate it, but probably give it a chance that later in life, it's going to be internationalized.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's bring up some of your feedback as well. Some more questions coming through. Brian Okoth, what is Wajackoyah's net worth?
My brain cannot be quantified.
But you need resources for companies.
Yeah, the resources I have here cannot be quantified.
Okay.
Yes.
Justina? Because there are questions about, in fact, there's been a pegging that if you want to run for presidency in this country, you need at least 20 billion, so to speak. 20
billion that you've stolen from Kenyans over 20 years of being in government. Really, Kenyans, we need to change. And that is why we are talking about industrialized hemp. We want Kenyans to have money in their pockets in a way that when we are coming here to run for the seat again or asking another mandate after 5 years as your president and deputy, you are the ones who will be funding our campaigns. We want Kenyans to have their own money and give them dignity. Actually, bursaries, we are going to scrape it out. Why should parents be here crying for, oh, Mheshimiwa didn't give me bursary? And Mheshimiwas, by the way, I ran for MP in Mavoko in 2017. And after elections, I sat down with the incumbent. And he told me, Justina, do you know what we get for bursary is so little?
Yeah.
So people say that we give our cronies, but the resources are scarce. We cannot afford to give everyone. So instead of government giving handouts in terms of bursary, let's have the farmer grow this industrial hemp, have money in their pockets, take their children to the schools they want. Schools will have money to even, upgrade classes, have more resources, have swimming pools. So the idea behind it is putting money in the pockets of Kenyans.
Remember the Kenyan today who said that he was going to pioneer to be the first one to grow hemp. What is his name again?
Mr. Gitundu.
Mr. Gitundu,
Yes.
what is the...
He owns Afro Sayari on Eastern Bypass.
And
yes.
you also mentioned earlier on that you're in a male-dominated business.
Yes. People on Eastern Bypass know me as Mule Madam wa Matinga. We're into excavation and supply of building materials. So everyone on Eastern Bypass, Utawala, Airways, MC, they know me. Ule mama wa matope, wanaditanga ndorologist. You know, ndoro in Kikuyu ni matope.
Yeah.
So when I failed in politics, I went back to be a neurologist. Okay. Yes.
All right, let's see some of your feedback as well as we wind up on this conversation, if there's still a few more. Honorable Andrew Sidede says, Muhesh, kindly talk about single mothers and health and also education and the youth. I think you mentioned education and the youth, health. What is your plan, Prof?
Roots care.
Roots care is there. Everybody will have enough money to even build a hospital at home or a dispensary. We are not going to plan for people who have money. Let's be like Arabs.
Yeah.
Arabs sleep during the day, they have a lot of oil, and people come to work for them. So Kenyans will be able to afford their own system of Medicare without being told how. It will be a process. It will take a long time.
So there'll be no bursaries, there'll be no insurance, everybody is essentially...
When you have a lot of money, because our main thing is, can we sustain what we are talking about today? And for how long is it going to be? Our long-term goal, not shortfall, what have you. Of course, we shall plan for affordable Medicare, not free Medicare, unless we have legislation to legalize the growth of marijuana so that everyone can have money in their pocket. But if we have that, then why would you be planning for somebody who is a millionaire who has got money, who can build his own hospital, who can build his own church and have the Bible and pray to the God, not through the Pope? Come on, let's have realization of this. But we shall meet and we shall sit down and we shall find out what went wrong with the healthcare policies and revert to the previous government, the first government in this country, where there was free Medicare under Kenyatta One administration.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry for interjecting you. But there's this thing, as a roots government, we recognize that a sick nation will not take us anywhere. The money we spend in terms of healthcare is enormous. Yeah. We are going to go back into teaching people good nutrition. And by the way, marijuana has food component in it. There's flour, there's oil. We are going to change this idea. We are going to ban sugar, by the way, which is not good for our bodies. We are going to ban something we call high fructose syrup, corn syrup, that is brought into Kenya, that is imported. Why should we have the sodas, the pizzas, anything that is not adding value to your body, but it's going to make you be obese, it's going to make you diabetes, increase your high blood pressure, cancer levels are high. So we are going to go back into organic kind of food. And the money that we could have used in roots care will go into other development agendas.
What happens to sugarcane farmers?
I come from Mumias.
Okay.
Yeah, where somebody ate Mumias Sugar Company and swallowed it. And I'm told that the same person became a thief many times. Of course, he will be tried when we take over, and he will face the high fiber. In Mumias today, if you look at how Mumias came up and the year, yes, they came up very high and they went down very quickly. We shall no longer go that route. If we allow the growth of marijuana, each farmer will have 50 million probably in a month, because marijuana, hemp grows only for 4 months. It produces the best fiber. It has byproducts, as she said. She talked of the food products, but we are talking of commercial products, like the Canadians have just now made a plane made out of fiber. The Israelis' military equipment, and that's why Israel is very powerful in this world when it comes to its armament, is actually because of growing marijuana and harvesting hemp to make their product, to make their own planes, to make their own armament and equipment and what have you, brake pads. And so instead of going to grow one sugarcane and enslave people to be cane cutters, looking at people walking in tattered clothes, come on, we are going to allow them to do that. But also, before we go ahead, there's this issue of mitumba.
Yes.
Look at what I'm wearing. Yes, this one is new. I bought it in a shop in the US. But this is mitumba, this one, from the US. Look at how I look. Simplicity. Let Kenyans have freedom to do what they want. If you look at the mitumba industry in this country, it has put food on lots of people's tables.
Yeah.
It has led people to educate their children. Some people are coming in and saying we shall ban mitumba, but we have the answer. We have fiber. Maybe you can continue where we shall have our factories, please.
Fiber gives a byproduct for textile industries. So we know where we're going to get our raw materials for Rivertex. What was the other? You were there in that Kikomi. We have the raw materials in hemp. And let me add this about the farmer. This year being an electioneering period, government has told them that they're going to buy their sugarcane at 4,112 shillings per ton. Look at the global prices. If it is coffee, they're paying, the farm gate price of coffee and tea is 23 shillings per kg as it is. Maize, 90 kg bag goes for 3,000. But industrial hemp goes for 159,000 per kg. This calls upon us to have competitive advantage. As a government, we want to run a profitable government, just like private sector looks at what are the trends, what is the going concern. And the going concern is that let us focus on hemp. So even that farmer who is earning 4,000, the sugarcane farmer, clearly is even given up on it because declining global prices is not favoring him.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll give you a chance for closing remarks each, but Prof, somebody is wondering why you're wearing 2 watches. Are they 2 watches?
Yes, this one is for my health, heartbeat and rotavirus. Whenever if I want to swim, or if it rains on me, nothing happens. This one is just, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke. I love wearing watches because they remind me where I've come from, and I don't want to go there.
Okay.
That's why.
So you wear 2 of them. Okay. Let's say closing remarks, and Justina, I'll start with you. 63 days to the polls. What should Kenyans focus on, and how are you, as a presidential team, going to ensure there's peace in the campaign season? And what is your plan? We haven't seen you out there campaigning like all the others.
Let me say this, dear Kenyans, that Ralph Waldo once told us that in every generation, there are people who are risk takers, people who seize the moment and try to change the perception of the people. That is Roots Party. But again, about peace, Rastaman is a peaceful man. So we are telling leaders that if Kenyans do not give you the mandate, please go back to what you've been doing. Let's just give the person who has won the position to continue to do their job, and you go back and let him do his job. But also, if he calls you upon to work with them, why not? Because the interest of Kenyans is large. So we are here saying, as a Rastaman, we are peaceful people, and you'll not hear any violence from our end.
Okay.
Yes.
Prof, closing remarks.
As we are not going to abuse anybody, we are not going to point fingers at anyone. We are asking Kenyans to look at us as we are. This is the only chance Kenyans have to change this country, because we are only 4. And out of the 4, we have one group, that's me and Justina, that have the real concerns of Kenyans. But if they want to follow money, if they want to be attached to good returns of somebody who is giving them money, fine. But what I want also to say is we don't have a problem with the church, and I want to make it very clear. The church now is coming up, and it's ganging up against me, telling me that I'm ruining their children, or telling Justina that you're ruining their children. Let them go back to the Bible and read the Bible very, very correctly. They should actually find out why Israel, where God came from, has never abolished hemp. Let them also find out why they accept monies every Sunday in the church for Harambee, and they don't condemn it, money that has come from evil. Let some of these pastors not be very judgmental, because God will judge them very, very harshly. And I'm praying, because I'm a prayerful person, I love God. I am praying to my God that we pray that we get elected so that we can actually put what we have within us to enable Kenyans to have food on the table. They will build their own churches, and the only communication they have between them and God is that Bible or the Quran, so that somebody can pray to God personally, instead of being victimized by some of these so-called pastors, not all of them, who are now coming out condemning Professor Wajackoyah, yet when they give or receive money from Sugoi, they don't say nothing. And thank you. And let Kenyans vote for us and vote for change.
And they read Genesis 1:12, Ezekiel 34 and 29. It is there, that hub God gave us, God gave the Israelites when they were in slavery, to give them food, to give them the status. It is there. Please read your Bible.
All right.
And even Jesus himself accepted to be anointed by oil made out of hemp when that unfortunate lady put her hair in his feet. So if Jesus said yes, who are they? Thank you.
No, atupatie polisi.
All right. But then how has life changed ever since you were cleared by IBC?
No,
is it any different now?
No, no more. In
No
fact,
security, nothing?
well, security is God. Wherever we are given belongs to the human mankind.
But if they'll be assigned to you, because that will only happen once you're gazetted,
well,
will you accept?
Yeah, we shall do what the Constitution says before we abolish it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Professor George Wajackoyah, thank you so much for making time. And Justina Wangui were my Roots Party presidential team. And also thank you all for all the feedback that we had. There's quite a number of them. We couldn't go through all of them, but you'll interact with them again during the presidential debate. My name is Trevor Mbije. It's always been a pleasure having you here with us. I was sitting in for Jeff Koinangi. Next week, he'll be back. Bye and good night.
Thank you.